How dare all that setup work I did get absolutely crushed. That's not fair. There we go. Okay, we're fine. Sorry, I'm learning on the fly tonight. Very jank. Yes, this is my first time doing a jank restream, and we're learning. Okay, it's not perfect, but it'll do. This is a casual boots race as part of the 2025 mentor journey. We got Jamesfnx and Lechtansi. It is plenty jank. It looks semi-decent, so it's all good. Let's get going. Let's get the runners able to start. Okay, so we're gonna let the runners go. I know I have to quit the race room. Lechtansi joining my stream. Yeah, we'll drop that down a little bit. Okay. Okay, we're starting them moving. Okay, so as soon as they go. But yeah, we got casual boots tonight. So James on the left, Lechtansi on the right. Casual boots, always a fun time. They'll be moving shortly. Okay, so casual boots. We've got those boots to start with. We've got a sword. We're going to move as quickly as possible through the escape sequence. A good time to roughly think about in casual boots for rando. You know, we're talking low 5s, depending on your experience. So we'll see what they're capable of. I'll try to point out some stuff as we go along here. You know, they said, you know, I'll give them some tips about how I would do things and what I think of what they're doing. Usually for standard starts, if you don't have a weapon or you don't have necessarily the boots, I would talk about prize packs as something to consider, but not a huge deal here. I will say grabbing at least one of those magic pots is a nice bonus, depending on if you might get a magic weapon or potentially your hammer and powder before you reach Kakariko. Decent opportunity to try to go for magic bat. But yeah, when we talk about the escape prize packs, if we don't have those starting boots and it's a standard start, what you want to try to look for is, you know, either the first drop in a prize pack, the special big prize pack, is Heart Fairy Magic, and then the other prize packs to look out for would be the small variety pack, which starts off with a small magic, and then of course the bomb pack, which starts off with bombs. So any of those 3 packs can give you bombs during an escape sequence. Whereas in the casual boots mode, obviously we already have those boots starting out, so we don't need the bombs to hit out that back of those back of escape checks. So James going with some traditional NMG strat there, killing that blue guard, having a boom, you're able to kind of work through that, which is always nice. We do see the map here in the boomed guard. Important note about the fact that we got a map here is that we will open all the chests. It is possible that if you're paying attention to your prizes in escape, you could actually skip the sank chest. And yes, I will agree, like a little bit of extra dashes here from James. Unfortunate death for Lechtansi. That's really, really rough. Yeah, that little hallway there, we don't actually need to dash across it. We get into what's called like a micro dash, which, you know, you're not really getting much out of them. Coming out of escape, yeah, you do want to do this route with boots. Dashing straight down and over this overpass is actually a little bit faster. If we were dealing with a standard start, we would talk about like NMG routing, where you go around the borders below, but that's not the case here. Going back to the prize packs, we do actually have 2 prize packs in Escape to talk about. You do have your 1 prize pack for the guards. The guards and the snakes are part of a prize pack. And then your other one is actually the rats. So 2 distinct prize packs are here in Escape that you can work with. So yeah, Lechtansi going with the little bit safer 1 or 4 slash strat, or at least trying to. You do want to try to slash from below, actually. One of the things to keep in mind is slashing from below actually works a lot nicer against the ball and chain guard. Early cape, interesting. Could be hinting at Aga. Casual boots seems to have a little bit higher of a likelihood of seeing Aga seeds. Lechtansi also in low health again. Be careful, buddy. James also a little bit low. The rat got away from him. Oh. Okay. But we're into the back for 3 more items. Just some money. Not a huge bonus, but you do like seeing a little bit of money this early. So yeah, James, my timer's probably a little bit ahead, so probably about a 5:16 on his side. That death for Lechtansi, pretty rough. Gonna cost a bit of time. Yeah, there's a lot to do with dash lines in this with these boots. You can get a lot of execution out of this. We did get a map check there. I didn't see it as well as I can. Era pendant according to Gray. Okay. Thanks, Gray. EP red. Love it. Little extra money to start. That's nice. Having 100 rupees into CAC is always a good idea. You'll get 50 easily in Kakariko, in Blind's Hut, and the Well, if you pick up all the pots. I do like this also from James. We're seeing that check of the tier 2 tree pull. In this case, tier 2 is reds. Really nice, easy money. And we can also check the bush crab here, which he's going to do. Not a lot of value on the bush crab. I do like this in Kaz boots. We're going to see a scout of lumberjack. Nothing this time. I think part of this might be James's alarm bells going off a little bit for the Aga play with the cape already. But I think just in general with casual boots, it's a well-deserved play to do. Good dash line there from James. He's going to be able to get some additional... We'll probably go for the tier 1. I don't think he's set up for a tier 2 or 3 here. Lechtansi, by the way, out at about a 650. Now, as you can see, we haven't gotten any bombs yet. This could be a problem if this was a standard or an open mode. I didn't see him get the 4th kill, Gray. Maybe he did. Oh, I guess maybe he did on the bush crab. But yeah, so we didn't get any bombs yet. In a normal like open mode, you might want to consider a south route at this point instead of continuing to CAC. But yeah, James remembering this bonkable rock right here will always have a bomb. So he should do this probably 2 times. I don't think the 3rd go is really as valuable, but getting at least 2 bombs here is really nice. I would do those dashes a little bit differently, but not a huge deal. If I get a chance sometime, I can always like run a Kaz Boots and show that. And I'm sure a lot of the mentors would also kind of have their own thoughts about it. Some armor, some health. That's always nice to see. And there's a few bombs, so we're okay for CAC. I don't know if James is really going to worry about buying bombs here. Like, that initial isn't too bad. In terms of checking the map, I'm not a big, like, proponent of early map checking. Always, like, it's not a huge deal at this point. You're not going to get a lot of info yet, so you can wait. Like, unless you're, like, dead set on going to a dungeon, I don't think it's a big deal. So what Lechtansi is doing is kind of that strategy I was talking about, where if you don't get bombs, you can get something out of doing this South CAC. There's two 50-50 bushes here. So he was able to get one bomb. I still think, like, we would have been fine not doing it. Nice hook shot. But yeah, I don't see, like, I'm not an early map checker in this mode. Like, if I'm going to go to a dungeon, I want to know what we might be dealing with. But if I'm not too worried about that, I'll skip out on it. Already enough heart pieces for a new container. And there's our Master Sword. So I have the personal philosophy that the game screams Aga if it's an Aga Seed. And the fact that we've gotten a sword and a cape is kind of screaming. So I think there's a decent chance, especially when you look at some of our other equipment, that flippers and hookshot is kind of saying maybe you're supposed to go to West Dark World. Yeah, like that's a big hint of like this could be a West Dark World seed. This is kind of an early gotcha for runners. So I think there's a good chance there might be something to that play. We're still a lamp away, and without the pearl, it's not like top of mind, but it's a little more. Yeah, and I wouldn't tell somebody to do Aga without the lamp here. Yeah, I mean, we've still got all of South Shore. We could dip Eastern. We can still do Sahad. Like, there's some good plays. We also have Zora. Like, there's a lot we're able to work with. Although there's the lamp. Nice hook through the block, by the way, on James's side. Yeah, we're up to orange. Okay, I can live with that. Nice big money there for James. A little under Zora, but hopefully we get the rest of the money. I don't think we saw a stun price check. I'd like a stun price check if possible soon. I'd also say like I probably would have gotten up to full health to have sword beams for this, but not a huge deal. I will note that the order you're seeing for this mini Moldorm cave, I had actually mentioned to James last night. Did he? I might have missed it. I think there's just value in always making sure to get the stun prize notification for yourself. Okay, there is. Yeah, $5. He's up over the money. Now, unfortunately, Lechtansi not having as great as a money situation, just because of missing out on that tree pull. Okay, so James here has set up the water walk out of Ice Rod Cave. That's really good. One thing you can note, though, is the fact that he has flippers, he doesn't actually have to go down to this spot to jump in. He could have jumped in the water on a diagonal ledge and then entered or jumped off the waterfall, and he would have still been in his water walk state. Yeah. So, like, that would have been a little bit faster movement from his side. It's only really valuable when you have the flippers, but, you know, he showed the more generic way that you would expect in a Kaz boots. Man under the bridge, nothing tonight. So, gonna see some swimming. I would say if you didn't have flippers, I'd probably just skip out on Man Under the Bridge and exploit the water walk as much as possible. But given the flippers, I don't think this is I think this is probably the right way to do this. A little bit extra money. There's our Pearl. So yeah, there's pretty much like, there's my alarm bells of Aga now. Pretty much all the flags are there for an Aga seed. You've got West Dark World access. You've got just the ability to do some stuff when you get there. Like, and I wouldn't even worry about touching pod. I would just get into Dark World and do West Dark World. I think you can argue that maybe you do a Saha play first, just to see if Saha's a little better. But I would still not want to dip Eastern without my bow here. Yeah, like, Saha's good here. Maybe you could do a Gina, but like it's not a huge play. Like, yeah, it looks like James is going to go for Saha. I think this is a good idea. You get those 3 easy checks. I think Eastern's a little bit cautious, and like with it being a crystal dungeon here, I think it's not worth your time. If Eastern was a pendant, I could see dipping Eastern here for the items and hope to get a little bit lucky, but it being a crystal, the forced double dip on yourself becomes a lot more dangerous. Nice extra sword, and yeah, that is, like I said this earlier, that idea of screaming Aga, this is a screaming Aga seed. And I think James is taking the right approach here. It's looking like Aga. It sounds like Aga. Like, go for it. We've left, like, 3 items on the table. A Gina and at least 2 items in Eastern. Maybe 3, but yeah, like, those 3 items being your Dark World access is very rare. Maybe one of them's a glove. Maybe one of them's a flute. But I think you're fine with this kind of play. James getting a little bit of extra money here in Aga Tower. I don't think he's going to be playing for pod. But, oh wait, we do have one other check that I didn't mention now that I think about it. We also have Sick Kid. Technically, we did get the bottles for Sick Kid, and we're not unable to do that in CAC. So 4 or 5 items are still available. We'll see how far Lechtansi wants to play this. Also going to go to Saha. Good idea. Yeah, I mean, the big thing here is just Lechtansi missing out kind of on the, with the death early. But since then, has been playing pretty good. I will say for these Aga rooms, this is a lot of, like, classic, NMG type stuff. So we're seeing a mix of strategies there. The Tempered Sword does make life a little bit easier, and Lechtansi's not going to just save and quit. So I would call this a gamble from my perspective. Like, I personally wouldn't play for Eastern, as I said, given the crystal, but if this works, if this is like Flute, or even a vanilla bow, that's a very big advantage. By the way, I will say thank you, James, for turning off or turning on reduced flashing. I'm personally a big proponent of reduced flashing because I don't want to see the lightning or the ether medallion. Yeah, like I wouldn't be shocked to see a glove or a flute here, but I think the safer, like the more consistent play is what James is doing. And unfortunately, we're already 2 dungeon items in, so still a possibility to get all 3 items in Eastern, but not great odds. And we are seeing some blue balls on Aga today. Although that mirror is very nice for Lechtansi, like even from the perspective that, and a vanilla bow. Oh, wow. Okay. And that's the thing is like, I will say one of the most dangerous things in Rando is vanilla items. So you see we've got that vanilla bow and, you know, luckily there's a second bow. I will point out here, though, on James's side, very good, smart knowledge there, remembering that the game, this is your West Ark World route to jump in the water here, swim up to this. This is always your access for West Ark World if you are gloveless. And also the fire rod. So very quickly, those 3 items in Eastern, surprisingly loaded. Now, the mirror and the fire rod are the 2 big items there. We do see another crystal at Skull. That's a 5/6 at Skull. Ooh, okay. Pendant Mire, though. The fact that our 5/6s are Eastern and Skull is pretty interesting, because that means we'd have Pyramid Fairy access. Like, that is crazy to think that Pyramid Fairy will be accessible very early. And in logic, the mirror combined with Aga Dead and the 5/6 crystals means you can go across the bridge and go into Light World and then go back into Dark World through the Hyrule Castle entrance. So very nice little bonus when we route that in. Unfortunately, a little bit away from our Armos script there, but, you know, it happens. But yeah, so when Lechtansi gets through this, the Aga play, the best thing for him is going to be just, you know, all the efficiency he's gaining is, you know, we'll see Graveyard Ledge, we'll see King's Tomb, K45, and like he can even get into Swamp. Now, the Swamp Palace is, I believe, our last pendant, so not ideal, but we have options. Pulling out that Cane of Samari makes this statue room a lot easier. But unfortunately, you know, no items to help out on James's side here in Skull. Early big key's not bad. I will be curious to see Lechtansi's route with Skull, given the fact that it looks like the items are in the back, or the middle and the back. The middle giving us the bombs, so the other item in the back somewhere. If Lechtansi routes Skull back to front, he'll get some additional efficiency here with that Fire Rod. Okay, James coming into a Village of Outcasts. We are still lacking a hammer, we're lacking a glove, but the fact that we put so much time investment into getting into Dark World here, I might advocate a Thieves Town play and actually try to beat Thieves. I still think you clear out the rest of Vu, so we'll see Chest Game and probably the Brewery. But after that, I think you make a... I'd take the gamble on Thieves Town just because of how much time it took to get into this portion of Dark World. We'll see how James wants to play it. I think at least front 4 is good. But he might, you know, his decision could come down to whether or not he gets something else in that front. Like, if you see the hammer, of course he's going to. The other possibility is you kind of play the a little bit of a guessing game with like how many items you get in the front here. So right now it's at best 2. And the first item we get is just the 10 bomb. And it's going to be just a 1 item front of Thieves. So like, if you want to play this a little bit safer, you might see him bail. We'll see how he wants to play this. The small key does mean that killing blind is in logic here, so all the back is in logic. So yeah, and James is going to go with that first idea I had, that it's, you know, I had to spend all this time to get here, so I'm going to play for the back. One of those good things about Rando always, you know your tools. You can get some free routing efficiency or free execution efficiency with like that Hellway there in Thieves Town. You know, if you got the cape, it's a free dash. Like if you can't hit that God Pixel, like a lot of us can't always. So if you got the cape and just want to do a cape dash up Hellway, it's not a bad idea. I will say Burna is not free there, so don't think you can just do the same thing with Burna. Burna, if you are not on the God Pixel, you will still get, you'll bounce off the spikes. You won't take damage, but you'll still have a spike bounce. Yeah, that's a green pendant swamp, so. By the way, James passing one of the impossible tests of this game. Don't have a glove, and James remembered to go... Oh, left side, unfortunately. Getting bullied by the berries. Hey, we got 2 pots here on the right side, by the way, are both hearts. So we did see James get one of them. But both the right pots are hearts. Unfortunately, we are guaranteed at least there is an item in the big chest. And while James passed the south going test, he failed the north one. It's hard. Muscle memory is really a pain sometimes. Okay, yeah, Lechtansi here. There is a way from the south to get that. If you see those, there's some bonk rocks in the graveyard or in the dark graveyard. You can bonk them to come up from the bottom there instead of having to go around like he did. As always, blind is a scripted fight. That is our powder on Graveyard Ledge. Maybe not required, but you like to see it. And as I said, you know, use your tools if you have trouble. You know, pull out that tool that works best for you. In this case, James pulling out the cape and just going through phase 3. Yes, this is on the channel, and I have VODs. I'll post the VOD onto the GMP Discord. So yeah, Gunboy, it will definitely be available for rewatch. And thanks for the follow. So James continuing his trek around. As we said, the big thing here is that loaded Eastern Palace. We'll see what Lechtansi gets out of the play. Like, I'm curious what the mirror only led to the powder so far, but there's still some checks available. The fire rod also means a clearable skull here, and as I said, that is our 5/6s, so that's a bigger issue. I'm kind of hoping for James's sake that he finds the other bow to kind of send him this way, or like to help him out, but yeah, that's not great. Whoever rolled the seed rolled quite a doozy. Okay, Hype Cave. This is going to be our answer. There's the hammer. So interesting. That's a clearable pod. Okay, so knowing what I know about is, like, if I had Lechtansi's route here, after doing Hype Cave, I would do Big Bomb into pod. That's kind of your best bet play on his end. Looks like James is prepping for a potion camera unlock in pod. With that purchase. That's the only reason I would think you do that kind of play. I mean, at this point, like, if there's nothing here in pod, all it really means is James is kind of locked into going to Eastern next, or Gina, or Sick Kid. But nice fight over there on Lechtansi's side. I did not mention the fact that the route really worked out pretty nicely. With the 2 items, so, like, that's a really nice bonus on his end. It doesn't always work out that, like, a back to front, if you can full clear, works faster, but this was one of those kinds of seeds where you can just take advantage of the items that you have to route this cleanly. Okay, not boat lock so far. James getting that small key in shooter. We'll try to point out some logical stuff here with Palace of Darkness. Another key, so that gives us some more routing. It doesn't mean that we're not bow locked here. Big question is this check here as well as our basement key or our basement chest here. Okay, so we're not bow locked at least for the first little bit in the back. Question is how many keys are in the back or on the right side. We know at least one is, so our 6 key checks would technically be bow locked. Looks like Lechtansi's not going to do Thieves Town here. It's not going to go against him at all. That's a shovel on Sick Kid. Okay. Okay, so what you're seeing with the potion camera unlock, you don't have to go that far down the hallway. Really, it's just you have to make sure that you're moving left when you use the potion, and then don't go past the door. If you have any motion past the door and then return to the... Like, if the screen is only shifting to the left, you're fine, but as soon as the screen shifts a little to the right as well, that's when it kind of gets all screwy, and you mess it up. Okay, so 1 key on right side as well as big key. So those are bow locked. We'll see what that means, if there's anything really important on those checks. Lechtansi, though, back into Thieves Town, so did want to see if maybe a shovel was there. Or, sorry, not a shovel, a hammer. Ooh. Get a little bullied by our mini Helma friend. They do get stunned by hookshot, by the way, so that was an option. Another key here in the back, so there's key 5. So what we're going to do is, if we get a key here in the basement, that does mean that there is an item in the Harmless Hellway. If there is no key here, then that is a small key. The Harmless Hellway is our last small key. We do not need to open that door. I will say the fact that both of our runners are completing Thieves Town means that that Thieves Town big chest, if it's something important, it's going to be a last location probably for both of them. Good thing James doesn't have a reason to death warp here. But that is a Bombos medallion and not the answer. And on the good news side for James, he is going to Eastern Palace. He's going to get his next piece of the puzzle. What I will point out is, looking at James's tracker, which both of them are using one that has item tracking on it, you can see that James has all the items out of pod. So from his perspective, even after he gets that bow here in Eastern, the return trip to pod's not totally valuable. He doesn't have to rush it. Did Lechtansi almost try to lift that block, unfortunately? So, I mean, if I look at this race from the practical standpoint of, you know, where everything is or how everything's worked out, it is such a habit. I do not blame anybody for missing that. Like, you know, I'll lightly tease, but I've done it so many times. I've been in go mode and opened that chest of our blind cell chest, the maiden cell chest, so many times. Like, it's habit. It is such one of those things you autopilot yourself. Yep, exactly, Gray. But yeah, like, what I'll say is Lechtansi's route has worked out nicer. We're kind of just waiting to see if it works out item-wise, that he hits something a little sooner. Whereas James has played a little bit cleaner. James, I know, like, I talked to the guys a little bit. Like, James has been playing at least a little bit more reliably. I know Lechtansi's been on a bit of a break, rando-wise. So, like, the execution side, probably not as... You know, it's like a bike, but if you stop riding, it gets a little bit hard. So, yeah, there's that first kind of red flag, like, oh, great, a mirror. And actually, the scary part here is that that hammer does mean Swamp Palace is also in logic. Eesh. Don't take... Yeah, go for it. Okay, James is going to get that third item, that all-important fire rod, out of the Eastern Palace Big Key chest. So, all good. And that's the thing, like, you know, we're talking about kind of the luck of this game. I will say, from a personal philosophy standpoint, you know, you're hoping to just kind of eliminate stuff that can break you and what you're willing to lose to in this game. So, you know, maybe sometimes you do that skip and it works out. Maybe you don't do that skip and it burns you, or you do the skip and it burns you. Like, there's so many ways that could go. So you just have to kind of resign yourself to sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. In this case, both of them did it, so that's good. Another check for Lechtansi that didn't have anything. Those mirror checks, like, that powder's the best thing he got. Even the fire rod didn't give him any advantages yet. We'll see if the early shovel off of Sick Kid helps. Like, I'm waiting to see that item that kind of benefits his route here. The biggest plus for Lechtansi is just this first loop being able to do Pyramid Fairy, hopefully. Like, please do it. Actually, we got a big problem there on Lechtansi's side right now that I didn't notice. Lechtansi's got no money. Oh, buddy. Down to 48 rupees. That's not enough for Pod or Pyramid Fairy. I would have said, you know, if I paid a little bit closer attention on his side there. Okay, there's the money. Never mind. We're fine. Everything's good. Like, I would have probably, if I was in Lechtansi's shoes out of Vu, I probably would have hit Arrow Game. If I'm James here, we're not going to Pod. You got no items here to worry about for Pod. I'm rushing Skull and doing another loop. Because I'm thinking it's probably either Swamp Palace or... Lechtansi, you have the Aga Portal. Go back. So yeah, he has the Aga Portal, and good. Okay, he does remember. Whew. A little bit of a delay on it, but we're okay. We're good. This time, by the way, James did not have to take the water portion. He could have gone up right side. The hammer, you do have that peg on this side as well, so you could have gone that direction. Okay, we'll see if James remembers the bonk. Yeah, you bonk that rock right there, and it allows you to come into King and Graveyard from the south here, instead of having to go all the way around, as we saw on Lechtansi's side. Both routes work. That's just a quicker way in this case. Pyramid Fairy, though, is our first love. So there's our logic to get up Death Mountain. But realistically, for Lechtansi, your play is to go to Pod. Yeah, I was going to say, this seed is kind of giving some hints as to what it's expecting of you. You know, the early Aga equipment was kind of obvious. The early details for Pyramid Fairy, like, these are some things you can kind of suss out a little bit. We'll see how much they pay out later. On the plus side, go mode kit-wise, we're only missing possibly 2 items. Yeah, we need a glove and an ice rod. I think more likely we probably need another medallion, but we could get away with just 2 items. Oh wait, sorry, we need a flute or a book. So 3 or 4 items for go. That desert access, you know, you always forget that desert access is a thing. Yes, the fluke. Thank you, Gray. You are always helping. Gray, how do you feel about the lack of blessings? Very clean moth fight, though, from James. Minimal spike movement. You'll love to see it. Yeah, our guys tonight are using auto tracking to help with everything. You're, of course, allowed to auto track in this manner. It will tell you, you know, hey, I've gotten these items, or like how many items I pulled out of dungeons and stuff like that, so. Need a little bit of an alternate strat here from Lechtansi. There's a few that you can do. Oh no, I am not a fan of this strat. If I was going to do a strat here, I probably would have done the Samaria strat, the Samaria clip. Like, all credit where it's due, nicely done by Lechtansi, but yeah. The other thing I would point out here is I'm not actually a big fan of the pod route he's taking. You have the big key and the small keys. I'd actually already be doing Helma here first. He's got the mirror, so it's not a terrible play. It's not like a big problem. But like, if you didn't have mirror here, I'd especially say, like, go do your, like, go do Helma first. In this scenario, it's not as big of a problem. Now, here's the first return play. Yeah, I mean, James is kind of down to some bad plays. So he wants to kind of clean up some of that and hope that it works out in his favor. Yeah, like, this will work out, like, kind of mid for Lechtansi by doing this first instead of Helma first. But on average, like, you're better off doing Helma first. If you have the keys to do it and you're in here for that first clear. Yeah, and I mean, the issue here is like, look at what James has left. He's got, you know, he's got a Sick Kid turn in. He's got Magic Bat. He's got Thieves Town Big Chest. And I think for him, the scary idea is, do I have to go into Swamp? Hopefully he thinks Pyramid Fairy, but yeah, this is not like, he's already feeling like he's hit a rough spot. And unfortunately, that big chest does not help. I mean, 3 crystals apiece. Lechtansi's going to take back the crystal lead shortly with this Helma play. But yeah, Magic Bat, just a heart piece again, so... Yeah, unfortunately, like, the other thing for Lechtansi is he could have done... If he had done Helma earlier, he would have had full health for this basement and would have been able to do board beam strats. Very nice turtle room, though. It does show, like, I know both these guys have put in some time learning some NMG. So, like, always cool to see those strats pay off a little bit. I will never say that as a mentee you have to learn NMG, but you can pick up some additional little nuance to your game. Like, some of the biggest stuff you learn from NMG is, like, your dash lines and some room strats for having, like, decent equipment. Gotta be a little careful here. Still good. Yeah, a nice kill. I will say a personal side of this, like, when I first started, I did not have interest in NMG, and I've only, like, added a little bit, a decent amount to my own game. It can benefit, but it's, like, if you're not interested, don't feel like you have to. Unfortunately, Lechtansi falling through the trap of forgetting to mirror after having beaten Aga. If you've got that mirror after killing Aga, you are stuck on top of the pyramid again, so... And it's clear his play, he wants to go up the mountain here. That's his density. Whereas James, without that glove, is heading to Swamp Palace. I believe the meme is there's always a glove in Swamp. That is not always true, but you know. I mean, I've also heard gloves in Swamp, so I don't know. The number of times I've seen Myth in Swamp Palace, it's kind of insane. I mean, if there's one item here to help James, it really helped him. Like Ice Rod. Okay, there's always a sword in Swamp. Thanks, game. And yes, I am in full agreement, Gray. You got it, Gray. You have to check Spec Rock here first. You are leaving yourself in a really rough routing decision. Because what you have to do now is you have to make a decision between Spiral Cave and Spec Rock. There's our Ice Rod, though, so that is one of the outs for James that is gone. There's our red mail, another heart container, so definitely some safety available for Lechtansi. Silvers, so Paradox is safety cave with the mitts. It's worked out nicely for Lechtansi not doing Spec Rock. I disagree with it. I think you do Spec Rock first here, but it works okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, from the strategy worked. Yes, it worked out for him greatly here. I will say, like, from a general routing principles, not my bag. Our medallion for Turtle Rock, though, is Quake. We are still looking for Quake and some way into Desert Palace. So we are not hunting. Oh, Wake was on floating island? Okay. I looked away. I was hoping to see something on James's side. There's our first blessing. Another bottle. Come on, book or flute. Nothing in Hookshot Cave. But Lechtansi's on, like, on a great route here. Gonna be able to beat TR next. Straightforward clear of that dungeon. No big problems. And you're into Ice Palace after that. Like, his route is very set in stone. He's got 2 very easy dungeons. And yes, Ped is dead. James having a little bit of issue here with that diver down. Does get it that time with the pause buffers nicely. There's our big key to swamp. Thanks, game. After we already went to the back. Yeah, I mean, for James to really be able to come back on this one, I think he needs to have... Like, he needs Flute to show up, he needs Book to show up, and he needs the other one to be locked in GT or behind it. Like, if Book's here in Swamp and Flute is in Desert, or Flute's in GT, or the opposite, like, those work. If Flute's on a Ether or Bombos tablet, it gives him some kind of outs. But, like, without that right now, he is unfortunately in a rough spot. Like, his play is going to be Pyramid Fairy after this. But the double dips really are kind of like the tough part here. As I said, vanilla items is just not what you want to see as a rando runner if you don't make that kind of risk early. Hey, more guy. Good evening. Exactly, like, James is in kind of the follow position. He's not gonna gain time because he has to follow. Like, he's gonna get the glove, and it's like, okay, like, maybe I go to pod and beat Helma, but then I'm right back onto the mountain, and I'm just following Lechtansi. And yeah, Swamp dead. The one benefit, the extra item that James can still get is, of course, that green pendant turn in for Swamp Palace. So still one more out, but we're running out. And, like, there are 2 items for go. No, James, go back. Go back. Oh, of course, the mushroom. It's probably back of mind for James right now, unfortunately. Bomb dupe's hard. Yeah, it looks like James is just routing it in now. Ice Rod's in Paradox, so it's easy to get. Definitely in the path. It's in the same, like, we had red mail, silvers, mitts, and yeah, silvers, mitts, ice rod, and red mail all in Paradox. And yes, we're still looking for a fluke. The flute book. Luckily, TR is not a dungeon that benefits a ton from Go mode. Like, you're still probably gonna do a whole dungeon. There's not a lot of ways to skip things in this dungeon. Nice half magic. Whereas, like, Ice Palace is one of those dungeons you can definitely save time if you're in Go mode. And yeah, we're going to get to see that mushroom turn in as well as catfish probably from James. I think James knows he's he's had a bit of a rough route, so he's hoping maybe one of these extra plays works in his favor. I will point out there is actually a way to not have to do that screen transition. You can actually do a you can do a mirror bunk there to save a little bit of time. Lechtansi, you got half magic and a Burna and a cape. Like, I appreciate the NMG dashes, like, you're doing good, but take it safe. But nothing on Laser Bridge. Catfish though, what do you got? Just another piece of heart. And unfortunately, James also saving and quitting in Dark World, so he'll be on the pyramid. Maybe he's thinking pod though? Like, let me beat pod? No. He's not. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the hope, but you're hoping for ice to also be nothing at this rate, and then... And honestly, if I'm Lechtansi here, I think my play, even then, would still be like Smith Chain into Swamp. No, James has also not been back to Pod Eastern area for the green pendant turn in. He's got no items in pod, so he's playing for the density and hoping it works. I mean, the other thing here is, you know, we didn't talk about this, but Spec Rock still exists. Well, and the Spec Rock's not the answer, but, you know, it was a check. Wondered if maybe we would have seen a dip into Hera here, but no. James wants to just get over to East Death Mountain and start making some checks here. Go for the dense item play. Well, and I'm not looking at Spike or Hera or Spec Rock if I'm Lechtansi now. I am going directly to Ice Palace. There is no question that Ice is the play. We also still technically have Agina. Nobody checked out Agina. Ice is a crystal. Oh wait, is ice? Yeah, ice is a crystal. There's no decision here. No, you're good. I understand. Yeah, I could have just focused on the items in the tracker. Full blessings, Gray. Full blessings. But I did want to capture the item counters for the dungeons. I think that's a nice little extra bonus, especially for if we lose track of stuff in a dungeon. But yeah, I think I would play Smith Chain into Swamp. Gives me a little bit of a delay. Never mind. There's Go Mode for Lechtansi. There's that flute. Unfortunately, Lechtansi did not hit the switch. I don't disagree, but doesn't matter. There is our big key, so just gonna have to get a small key now. Which is there in the big chest. Very convenient. Works out nicely. Yeah, worst case here was if ice or big key was in iced tea. It wasn't, so it's fine. So, if you're full clearing Ice Palace anyway, I don't hit the switch. But if I know that, like, there's a chance, like, if I'm in go mode, I don't mind not hitting the switch. Or I don't mind hitting the switch. But, like, if I'm not in go and I'm planning to just full clear a dungeon, I will never hit that switch. Yeah. It's very situational awareness, like, and what I'll say is, like, when we've talked, like, I've seen some talk from the mentees, from mentors about, how you want to play this game. Part of your decision is what is mentally capable for you, okay? There are runners in this game who are, like, always kind of firing, like, mentally, like, trying to think through every little detail of a seed. And then there are some that is just, like, you have an autopilot idea. I'm personally the type of person who's like, I try to reevaluate my position a lot during a race and what I want to do in this dungeon when I'm there. Whereas, like, it's a question of, like, oh, do I want to, how do I do Swamp Palace routing? How do I do Ice Palace routing, Mire routing? Whereas, like, there are runners who will say, I don't want to do this. And just, you have that idea in your head, like, I always hit the switch. Like Gray was saying, it's not a bad play, it's just, how comfortable you feel changing your routes. I'll use a teammate from League as an example. Like, Kaizen and I have very different ideas about some of those things as well. Whereas, like, his concern is he'll change his route and it will cause him to miss something. Whereas for me, it's like, I want to do that reevaluation. Because I have the ability to kind of keep that in mind. So for me, it doesn't bother me. So know yourself, I guess is the way to put it. And that can change over time. Like, you get more comfortable with the game, you learn a little bit more, and you feel a little bit better about it. And yes, remember if you have the big key or not. Like, we're not doing key sanity, but it happens. But yeah, really easy Desert Palace here for Lechtansi. Just has worked out amazingly on that play. Oh, unfortunate on that last silver hit. And realistically, like, James has had a good route since getting, the Eastern clear, but that early Eastern play from Lechtansi was just, it was OP. I think every bottle has had a B. Maybe there was an empty one, but yeah, like, all the bottles are coming up Bs. So a 0 pendant dip seed for Lechtansi, that's always a nice feel. And we're just going to reflute here after getting dead rocked. I mean, if you want to guess, Gray, go for it. I will never enforce it. You know me. Can't remember the last time I did non-key sanity where there was actually a big key to guess where it was. And as I pointed out on Lechtansi's side, like, James going with the tools he has. He said, I've got Burna, I've got half magic. I will just take the easy road here on Laser Bridge. I prefer that. Like, if you've got the tools to make your life easier, like, don't feel like you have to do something hard. Like, keep your life simple. Yo, Doc. We got 7, 14, and 18. We're not going to see some backdoor Trinex strats. It's okay. Yes, always use your safeties. If you got something, use it. You don't want to be mad later. And we got a 3 from Fernap. Okay, so this was a big discussion in GMP the last couple of days about how to route GT efficiently. If you got some of the discussion from, like, Trinex and myself, I think secretly a Sliver said this as well. A few of us pointed this out. Like, as long as you have a route in mind, you're okay. So, like, it's as long as you have something that you're consistent to, and I think as long as you're not flip-flopping too many times, you're okay. I started off personally as a Hope Left runner, And it works out pretty nicely. A lot. It did in this seed. I also know some people are rando rushers. I think that strategy, yeah, that was 5. So like rando rush is a valid strategy. Doing left side Stalfos room or DM room and then going to compass and then going full left is okay. You know, those are all decent routes. What I would say is a bad route would be like a ton of flip-flopping just in general, like a lot of back and forth kind of gets the wasteful side of things. But if you don't like right side conveyor room and that's why you do hope left, it's okay. Because here's the truth of GT routing. Some days your GT route is going to win you a race, and sometimes your GT route will lose you a race. It's not that you're right or wrong, it's just that there are 22 locations in that GT basement, and one day it's going to work, and another day it's not. Play the route you're comfortable with, and it's okay. Yep. Yeah, Kirby, like that's probably the most flip-flopping, and like I'm not a big fan of it. I know you can do it and it sometimes works, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. And exactly, or consistency is a good way to do it. James have a little bit of a time with that icebreaker, but gets it. And there's go mode for James. He will still also have to take down Helmasaur, so he's got an extra return to there, but he did make go mode at about 115. Now, James not going for the big test check. Yeah, he went for the guaranteed small key. We'll lose him a little bit of time, unfortunately. Safe play, it just wasn't the right one. Like, it wasn't required this time. Now, what I'll point out here with that Cold Stare fight, James hitting to the right, he has the Butter Sword, so he gains no real advantage by aiming for Splash Fire Rod shots. On Lechtansi's side, I think he might have spun to the left. If you're aiming for Fire Rod dupe shots, spin Cold Stare to the top left. If you've got no reason to do that, then top right is kind of the traditional way of doing it. But Agatu down on Lechtansi's side, and here we go. Time for Aga. Or, not Aga, Ganon. You know, the pig guy. Hey, Ganon. Lechtansi going for the 1-in-1. Got the single first phase. Just had a little bit of trouble there with doing that in phase 2. This is one of those things where, like, I will say there's definitely some value to the NMG learning. Again, like, not required. Pretty much Lumaga. Eastern being loaded kind of just settled this early. Yeah, Mirubo Fire Rod with a required first glove in Pyramid Fairy locked behind our 5-6 crystals of Skull and Eastern. So absolutely just ideal routing on Lechtansi's side. As always, the French vanilla item is kind of just a killer. A little bit of a rough phase 4 here, but Lechtansi's pretty much through it. You had him frozen. But there we go. There's the silver arrows to kill Gan, and let's get those GGs in chat for Lechtansi. Lechtansi finishes with a 119.32. Not bad. Brisk pace there. He definitely hit a great route on this one and can't complain. Let me see if I can get into a different channel so I can also have Lechtansi talk. And we do have Lechtansi with us.
Hey.
Hey. As I messed up my own cropping because of doing so. There we go. And James has also decided to forfeit, so I'm gonna go to his channel and mute his stream. I mean, I don't blame him. He's in Go. He eventually caught everything. Lechtansi, how about that Eastern?
Yeah, that was a surprise for me. You know, even more of a surprise than that. How about that ball and chain guard?
Yeah, I did mention it your second go at ball and chain. Don't do left-right slashing.
I'll have to check that out because
yeah, the
I normally do I normally do one pot, and one of my mentors was like, you know, I think you're fine. You should be able to do eight slash. I was like, all right, I'll try 8 slash, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
So
8 slash is fine. I think the one thing you got to watch out for is that a lot of 8 slash strats, though, even any slashing strats, come from the south. Doing slash strats from the right side or the left side of the ball and chain guard is always a little bit riskier.
So doing it from the left side is always my strat whenever I'm doing the one pot. So but yeah, I was really surprised to find the vanilla. I was really fine. You know, when I went into Eastern, I was like, all right, okay. How about this?
And we've also got James with us now too.
Lol Lamau. Like this seed is a perfect example of I'm sure like if someone walks into the seed and sees some of the decisions I made about 45 minutes into it, they're like, what are you doing? But this is one of those seeds where I had to make some decisions to play to literally my only outs because I didn't go to Eastern until after the entire Dark World loop.
Well, and I'll say, James, like when it came to the routing, like I talked through a lot of this as kind of the outside observer, and your route was my route. Like Lechtansi, you probably smoke James and I like easily because of that Eastern dip. Like I was in that same thought of like I got a cape, I got 3 swords, I've got a lamp, I've got flippers, I've got hookshot. Clearly, the seed wants me in Dark World to do
Yeah,
the loop,
yeah,
not go
yeah,
into
exactly.
Eastern.
Like,
Yeah.
why would I go? Like, yeah, I've got stuff to do the loop. I've already got my hookshot and flippers. I just want to find a mirror and I can just get pod and Eastern checks done all at the same time. If I find a bow along the way, great. And it turns out everything is in East. Literally everything to make that route
Yep.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Is just in Eastern Palace.
And that was the thing, is that from Lechtansi's perspective, you know, you get that mirror bow fire rod, and then it's you've got your first 5-6 crystal out of Eastern, you go into Agate Tower, you do the loop, you get your second 5-6 out of Skull, you beat Thieves because the loop was a pain, you end up at Hype, you get your hammer, and you're like, okay, let me do Pyramid Fairy into Pod, and clearly that's just OP in this one. And you can see it with the
Yeah.
CR, a 132. That's a brisk, that's a pretty low CR overall. Like, not bad.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, once I see all this stuff's in Eastern, I have to play to what my outs are. And literally the only outs I have in that spot are Thieves Town Basement and Magic Bat. Like, those are the only two, because you couldn't have the hammer before doing Thieves Town. It's like either you choose to skip Thieves Town, which is not unreasonable in that spot, or you skip Thieves Town Big Chest and just do it. And then you couldn't have had the hammer to do Magic Bat on that loop. So
Yeah.
those are literally the only 2 outs I have. So I have to take them. I don't get anything there. So I'm now have to commit to Swamp, because it is not totally unlikely that Lechtansi goes to Swamp, but it's also very reasonable for him to skip it. And I have to play to my outs. I have to play this to try and find something that isn't in the path that someone who found all this stuff immediately got. And that's why, like, I definitely run this race completely differently if it's a group race, but in a 1v1 situation, I just have to do those things.
No, completely agree. Like, you, at that point, it's, you know, you're gonna go to Pyramid Fairy after that, but you're gonna play for Swamp in the moment. Whereas Lechtansi, you know, you get that hammer out of Hype Cave. It's like, well, I've got a bow and I've got a hammer and I've got a lamp. It's Pyramid Fairy to Pod. Like,
Yeah.
there's not choices to make at that point. This is, you know, this is rando.
Yeah.
And then after pod, you know, I went up to the mountain and found all of the goodies up there. And
then you just do TR while you're up there, and then you go to your next crystal, which is ice, and it's got the flute, and then you're off to the races. And there's no place for me to make up time at all. And that is what it is.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like, I think, you know, you guys speak to it a little bit. Like, I know, James, you sound like unhappy about it, but like, you've been around the corner. You understand this game.
I'm not like, I thought I played fine. It's just I made a choice. I made a choice that it was reasonable in the situation, and it turned out to be literally the worst choice you could ever make in results-based analysis. Just the stone worst thing you could ever do. So now I've got to like figure out how to dig out of a 5 to 10 minute hole, because I've gone through in full cleared pod without the bow. And then I find all that stuff in Easter, and I'm like, okay. Had this not been restreamed, like there's a small chance I just forfeit as soon as I like do those 2 checks that my 2 outs and find they're both heart pieces. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. Like, I that's the thing to keep in mind. Like, if you're watching this as a mentee and or even a newer runner, or, you know, a mentor, like, from the mentor side, it's like, you know, impress this upon your mentees is like, there are going to be days like this. This is rando.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
things just don't work out some days, and, you know, you learn to live with it. And from the mentee side, like, as you're starting out, you will have races where you make the right calls. Like, James, what you did tonight was, I think, the right calls. They just weren't going to pay. They weren't the correct calls. Like that's always the way to
Yeah.
put this to yourself is you can make the right decisions, but they are not the correct decisions. And that is like if you're gonna get into the hobby as like competitive or not, just understand you're gonna have those days.
Yeah, totally. And like once I see that stuff and I just know what the result is, and I'm just kind of playing out like maybe Lechtansi dies 18 times. Who knows? We only have what red mail, gold sword, silver arrows, 13 hearts. You could die. I'm not.
Well, to be fair, I died at ball and chain guard. To be fair, I died at ball and chain guard.
Don't do that. Don't die at ball and chain guard.
It was embarrassing.
You had a
I was
boomerang.
like, oh my God, how do I call myself a Zelda player and here I am. I'm dying to ball and chain. It was nasty. Those guards just wanted to clip me like nobody's business. And I will mention that I often play like I'm a NMG main, and the reason I'm an NMG main is because there was like a 3-month stretch where I didn't hit the route. Right. Like it was like in the same way that like not going to Eastern early cost you 10 minutes. Like I would do that for literally every seed for months. And once I just hit like a critical threshold, I was like, okay, fine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like
And
you have to step away at times. And that's the nice thing about rando is there's just not, you're not, unlike other competitive forays, you're not losing a ton of space on other players if you decide, hey, I need to take a break. I need to stop tilting off after bad decisions. Oh, well, not bad decisions, but decisions that don't pay out. Maybe you are making bad decisions. Maybe what you've had happen to you in past races is making you make decisions that are less than optimal because you have been burned and you're starting to get those biases that is the kind of time when you want to step away and just reassess how to play and what decision making is like, because everyone playing randos execution is somewhere between a 125 runner and a 140 runner. Like there is an execution difference, but it's not insurmountable if you make good decisions um and kind of figure out how you can get in the mental mindset to sort of stick to making good decisions even when they're burning you.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say, like, for if a mentee watches it back and like, you know, we didn't talk a lot about like some of the late game execution stuff in this one, just because it kind of, didn't present itself. But I will say, like, if you're in this kind of lopsided situation where like your opponent finishes and you still got dungeons to finish, if you're a mentee, finish out your race right away.
Yeah.
Like James, you've been playing this I think longer than I have, or at least around the same amount of time. Like
I've been doing rando since 2017. I don't need to go beat Helmasaur
right
again with
like
gold sword, red
James
mail,
and I are
silvers.
in that 5 to 10 year range of having been a part of this community. So like for us, it's like I don't need the rep, but like if you're new to this game, if you're learning it, get your reps in. I've mentored before. I know James, you have. I don't think you have yet, Lechtansi. Like this will be your first year as a mentor. Like, but the reps you put into GT and TR will show in the long run. They are difficult dungeons. I don't care what anybody says. They are difficult, especially starting out. So get your reps in. They will make a difference down the line.
And don't just like not load up the practice hack and load up your NMG item loadouts when you do those dungeons, but do seeds and get used to doing those dungeons on a little bit lower equipment than you're necessarily comfortable with. I think that's where you can make the most improvement on your times, is getting more comfortable clearing late game dungeons with Master Sword and Green Mail and 10 Hearts, or Fighter Sword, and just figuring out ways to get better at those dungeons when you're not in an optimal situation, or you're not in a situation you're comfortable with. And that just comes from gameplay.
Yep.
I do have a little bit to add, and I know that I'm newer on the mentor side of things, so feel free to contradict me.
What I will say,
But
Lechtansi, is you have a different approach or a different experience, because James and I, being kind of on the older side of things in that regard, is like, I wasn't a mentee. James, I don't think you were a mentee. Like, we don't have your viewpoint on this.
Okay, cool. Well, so one of the things that you'll like, for the people who are watching, I was particularly happy with my GT climb. Right. I felt like I ripped through that. I mean, up until I forgot how to do Silver's Ganon. Up until that point, I felt like I was doing, pretty well. And you can actually make up like a minute or two in GT compared to, especially if you're a mentee watching, right? Like if you've got a 7-minute GT climb and, like tower plus Ganon, 7 minutes. Once you get out of the basement, because the basement can throw you off, right? Like if you go right and the other person goes left and they win, it's just like, oh well.
Yeah.
But if you think about your climb all the way through Sword Up, Triforce, tonight I did that in about 6.5 minutes. And like I've watched mentees do that in 10, 11 minutes. And especially if you're in the 215 to 230 range. And so like realistically, you know, if James hadn't cleared swamp and had just gone for it otherwise, and James knew that I was not particularly good at, well, let's do a different hypothetical, right? Like let's say I know that I'm behind, but I know that I can that I'm playing somebody who has like an 8, 9, 10-minute GT, and I have a 6-minute GT. I'm not going to do some of the risky things that James did tonight, right? Because I know that one of my outs is my better GT. So if anybody who's watching is interested in learning how to do GT, please feel free to ask somebody. You can ask me, or you can ask lots of people. But I will point out that because everybody has to do GT, it's such a execution heavy dungeon. Like once you get the big key, it's all execution.
Mm-hmm.
Then I mean, and even getting the big key, you can get like plus or minus like a minute or two, even if you both go the same route, right? So like I know personally that my GTs are pretty good. So if I'm facing somebody who I know just GTs are not particularly good, then I have a little bit of an out there, right? And I was talking to somebody to a mentee who I've given a little bit of advice, and he was saying that he's gained like a minute or two in his GT in the last week or so, just for practice.
Yep.
So I think that
yeah, I think that's probably the most valuable place to spend time if you're just in the practice hack, is outside of, if you're not comfortable with tricks, the really important tricks like icebreaker, diver down, Harapot. If you're outside of like practicing those tricks, I think GT is like the best place to spend time in the practice hack. Like, because like Lechtansi said, everyone's got to do it every race to win. And like I know that your execution is better than mine. You focus a lot more on energy than I have. But my execution is not terrible, but I am definitely losing some amount of time to you in a GT climb. And like if you that is just one place where you can pick up a ton of time and always know that it's going to be in your back pocket because you've got to do it to win.
Yeah. Until you give me Silver's Ganon, I just need to put some time back in the prac hack because I'm not used to Silver's Ganon.
The 100% runners are feasting.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I lost like 30 seconds on Ganon just from flubbing the Silver's fight.
No, the hardest Ganon fight is actually Master Sword Silver's.
Oh, that fight is terrible.
Yep.
Fight is...
The number of times I've had Master Sword Silvers and gone for Silverless strats, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Cool.
But
Well,
I think it's a fun watch. I'm sure everyone had fun.
Yeah, we'll post the VOD up in the Mentor Tourney
Watching the VOD.
GMP Discord just in case, because I know we had some people said it was a little late for them to watch.
Just put a piece of paper over the left side of the screen. You'll be fine. No, don't actually do that. I don't feel bad about my execution at all. You just sometimes you decide to go to a place or not go to a place, and it's got literally everything for you.
Yeah, as I said,
And
French vanilla
that's
items
rando.
are kind of the worst.
Yeah, vanilla items are kind of the worst, but like if it had just been one of the three, if it had just been bow or just been mirror or just been fire rod, and the other two were kind of dispersed out in the world, it wouldn't have been so bad. But literally all three in there just destroys my route compared to Lechtansi's.
All right. Well, I think that's everything for me. Feel free to read, like anybody who's a mentee watching, feel free to reach out to any of the mentors. If you liked anything that you saw tonight, I'm sure most mentors can do the things that, James and I did tonight. And because, we're both fairly average players, I've only been, back in Rando for about a year and back in Zelda, Link to the Past for about a year. So, that's any of the mentors will probably be able to help you with any of the things that you saw tonight. And so yeah, feel free to reach out if you liked anything.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me try to do a jank restream for the first time.
Yeah, I only caught the end, and aside from the fact that you had got my border here, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. I was trying to do it quick so I didn't keep you guys waiting too long.
Yeah.
So
if it in the future, if you want, I can always turn my
no, the borders were helpful. I just missed it a
Okay.
little bit. That was on me.
Yeah, thanks for staying up on like actual degen hours. I know I know your rest of your team is West Coast, but
yeah, that's why I'm degen as well.
It is it is degen time over in the East Coast, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we'll definitely post this VOD up on the GMP Discord so people can watch it. And be able to see it, because yeah, East Coasters, I can't imagine many of them stayed up this late, and I'm of course the Euro side missed it, so we'll definitely try to get that available for everybody. I'll try to post the VOD link as soon as possible. So but yeah, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I know the MP or Mentor Tourney is starting soon, so we'll see ya.
We'll see it
later.